Hey Insulators, we are on site down here in Florida with Jeff. He is the owner of Reaper Rodent Removal. What a name.
Well, my last name's Grimm, so Reaper kind of worked out perfect.
That's awesome. So Jeff specializes in wildlife, you know, the animals and raccoons, rats, and all the stuff that they have down here. Have you seen an alligator in a crawl space yet?
No, not yet, a bobcat.
Oh, ooh.
You're talking about a scary situation, crawling through an attic and a bobcat shows up about 10 feet from you. I was a little nervous. I knew where the couch was, so if I had to jump through, I was going to land on the couch.
Any eastern diamondbacks in the attics?
Actually, no. I did get one on in a crawl space, and he was 4 inches under the state record.
Oh, wow.
He was like 6'11", and the state record, I believe, at the time was 7'2", 7'3".
Did he let you know that he was there, or was he silent?
No, he knew. I knew he was there.
Oh.
So, but it was a lot of kids in the area too, so we went ahead and took care of it. They knew it was there. They called me for it.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
So now, years ago, I got called. I was doing a crawl space inspection. This is when I was brand new. I was working for a company. I get to the back and I see this giant boa constrictor, python, whatever. He was that round. I mean, he was balled up under a crawl space. I come out. I'm probably white at the time. Clients looking at me like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Dude, there's a giant snake underneath your crawl space." He's like, "Oh, that's where Bubba went. I lost him like 2 weeks ago." I'm like, "Thanks for telling me this." I'm down here crawling around with this thing that could easily kill me. So that was one of my scary situations when I was younger. So
yeah, you faced off with rattlesnakes. You faced off with bobcats and attics, but that probably was not the worst thing you've ever faced with. What recently happened to you that almost took your life?
Well, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I'm indestructible at this point. So I started going into some attics without a mask, doing inspections. I figure I'm going up there 10, 15 minutes, no big deal. I went into this attic. It was late at night. Driveway was a mile long, $10 million home. And I went up in the attic. It was really bad. I thought about getting my mask, but it was too long of a walk. And a mistake was made. After that, it was probably the worst week of my life. I spent a week in the hospital. I got leptospirosis, and about a month in bed, and the effects, I believe, are still affecting me 9, 10 months later now. I get winded really easy. My cardio is really bad. I've been in the gym for the last 4 months, and it just doesn't seem to go away. So, yeah, that was a mistake I'll never make again.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've met a lot of guys out there. They just don't wear the mask, and they don't see the need for it. And you know, the thing is this, raccoons are all throughout the United States. It's not just a Florida thing.
Everywhere.
And it's the same problem.
Rats and raccoons are all over the United States.
Toxicity.
Same issues. You got leptospirosis, you got the hantavirus.
Yep.
What happens with the feces and the urine, it becomes toxic in the air. And as soon as we go up there and we start stepping on the insulation and stepping on the stuff, now we're breathing it in.
Yeah.
A mask, whether it's an inspection, whether you're doing the work, is so important. You know, you got other things like gloves and things like that, but the mask is so important. Whether it's just a nice filtered mask or a glass mask, it's up to you what you wear, but wear a mask, because that was the worst thing I've been through in my whole life.
Yep.
I'd rather get hit by a truck 10 times than go through that again.
N95 masks are great, but I always use a P100. It's a vinyl mask, and you can survive with a vinyl mask longer than you can with those 95s, because especially down here in the heat in Florida, you know, after about 30 minutes, it's collapsing.
The P100 is what we specialize using, because they do last a lot longer. And we're crawling through attics all day. So because we do the animal removal, we also do the cleanup. So we're up there doing insulation work, cleaning it up. And even your inspections, I keep saying that. It's even during an inspection, you're up there for 5 minutes, you need a mask. You're up there for 10 minutes, you need a mask. You're up there all day, you need a mask. There is no exceptions. I see people online all the time, and it gives me goosebumps. Look, I got goosebumps just thinking about it because of what I went through, and it just takes once. I've been doing this for 20 years. It took once for me to realize I can't go in this attic without a mask, whether I'm up there for 5 minutes or not. And I'll never do that again.
Yeah, so it took them how long to diagnose you?
So they sent me home from the ER, gave me some Dilaudid, sent me home, and the very next morning, boom, back again. I went to my doctor. He sent me back to a different ER, and they kept me at the hospital for 7 days. It took about 4 days for them to get the results back for everything, to finally be able to say it was leptospirosis. The doctors didn't know what I was talking about. I had to use information from other people who've had the same situations and show them each of their testimonies too, what they went through, for them to finally listen to what I was saying. Because they just thought it was just a common cold, it was this or that, and it wasn't. And some of the doctors, because they don't deal with that regularly,
Right.
had no clue.
So, do you have any long-lasting effects from this?
Yeah, I have I get winded very, very easy. If I walk from here 20 feet that way and back, I'm going to be over here. Just talking, I'm starting to breathe a little bit. I'm like, and I've been in the gym. It's not about that. I've been in the gym for the last 4 months almost every day, and I still can't get away from being winded by just walking 20 feet away and back. And that's the worst thing. I do have a little bit of a cough and seem like I'm always congested. Other than that, no. Those are the two things that bother me still.
Yeah. No,
And that's 9 months.
Yeah, so we, amongst insulators, roofers, HVAC guys, a big portion of our customers are rodents and wildlife removal. So it's very important that you take the extra steps. Even though you're going to poke your head up in the attic, it's very important that you have all the protections.
Yep. I had a client in Sarasota whose son died from the hantavirus.
Wow.
You know, that was 6-7 years ago. And, you know, after a while, it kind of loses memory of that.
Yeah.
And you don't think, you start to don't ever. It's mask all the time.
It's not something that's just out west. It's all
It's
over
everywhere.
the U.S.
Everywhere.
So,
Talking about long-lasting effects, I think the biggest effect is I say this over and over, it was the worst thing I ever been through. At one point during this, I was in the hospital telling my wife I loved her. Sorry, kind of got emotional, but yeah, I told her I loved her, and that was it. I was done. I was on my way out, and I felt that. And I used to be a paramedic. When somebody says they have the look of death on their face, and when she has videos of me, I had the look of death, and I really felt that it was done. I felt like my life was over, and it was pretty bad. So
we're glad you're here to tell us a story.
Me
and
too.
Man, continuing on.
Thank you. I've been doing it for 20 years. I started not getting afraid of it because it's been so long. And you think of these old guys that's been doing it longer than I have. It gets to the point where you don't think about it until it hits you. And then you're like, oh, oops. And it takes it one time. I mean, you just breathe in the wrong fibers at the wrong time. What's the percentage? I've read it before. 20% of the air you breathe is from your attic. I believe that's the number. 20 to 30% of the air you breathe in your house.
I was in Fresno, California with a customer. They came in. She had a roof all fixed up because it had holes in it. But
Yeah.
what they did was they boxed in all of the raccoons. The raccoons
They all
died in
died.
there. You
She's
know,
breathing it. Oh.
and they had piles of feces like this. And her whole living room, it wasn't sealed off. It was just
So
a
she's
lap
just
board.
breathing that in.
So the stuff is just coming in, and we couldn't even get 50 pascals. I mean, we were just dying on this thing using the blower doors. I always wear a mask. I always wear a
yeah.
P100.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely would have caught something. So Jeff, how did you get into wildlife removal? I mean, you're in Florida. Obviously, there's a need for
It's
it.
a pretty unique story. I was a paramedic,
Okay.
and I saved somebody by not following protocols, and I got a time off with no pay. And I decided at that point that I was making more money part-time than I was making full-time working as a medic, trying to save people's lives. So I went into sales at Terminex. And I worked at Terminex for 7 years as a salesman. And I got a boss who really, thank you, Brian, for guiding me in the right direction. And without him, I wouldn't be here doing this. And after doing 7, 8, 9 years in the industry, I decided to start my own business. I started with a truck and about $1,000 in my pocket, and made a logo, and that's it.
Cool. That's awesome. And so after you got established in that, hurricanes started coming around and everything. And
Well, we've had some up and downs. COVID really hurt us.
Yeah.
But Hurricane Ian, it had a lot of wind, and the wind stayed here for a long time. It barely moved through. And because we repair soffits for animals, we did a lot of soffit and animal repair after Hurricane Ian. And a lot of attics got leaks with mold and fungus. And we went up there and we did a lot of insulation removals. Thanks to you, got me a machine. Barry brought me down this 37 horsepower machine, and we're out there sucking batted insulation full of mold out like it was nothing. It really saved us. I mean, we did a couple $1 million in business in just a year.
that's awesome.
And without that machine, I don't know what we would have done.
Well, the nice thing is all that mold is going straight down the hose. It's not going into
Gone.
the person's house.
Yep,
You know,
and
as
sucked
it's-
it all out, cleaned it all up, and we did a lot. in an Inglewood area had all the houses were batted. There was no blown in. Every house was batted. So being able to suck batted insulation through a hose saved us a lot of time. It saved a lot of airway problems, and it was a godsend. It was perfect.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Barry.